The world had fallen silent beneath twisted steel and shadowed spires. In that desolation stood one lone shepherd, a border collie named Shepherd, his fur dusted with ash, his cloak torn by wind and warfare. Each step he took echoed through empty streets, for he carried not only his own hope, but the fragile promise of a flock forgotten by time. And as the sun bled across the ruins, he prepared to gather the lost, or be lost himself. He was not alone in the wasteland. Around him lay the hollow husks of once trusted companions, robot sheep, abandoned when the world turned to ash. Their eyes flickered like dying stars, and their metal limbs creaked with every breath of wind. But Shepherd would not leave them to rust in silence. He bent to cradle their broken frames, determined to rekindle a spark where all seemed lost. On the cracked horizon, silhouettes of metal beasts appeared, four riders of doom, forged in fire and fear. They circled with mechanical precision, heralds of annihilation ready to sweep the kingdom of the lost. Yet Shepherd stood unmoved, heart-bound to fragile steel and circuit. He would face this gathering storm, for the flock depended on more than circuits. They depended on him. The first rider descended like molten wrath, spitting fire that turned metal to molten tears. One by one, machines were consumed in crimson fury. Still, Shepherd did not flinch. His cloak whipped around him as he raised his gauntlet, a silent sentinel unbowed. For in his chest beat a different flame, one born of loyalty, refusing to yield to the inferno. The second rider swept in on silent wings, unleashing a storm of nanoscale venom. Sheep bots twitched and sparked, voices of steel stifled by invisible scourge. Yet Shepherd moved among them like a guardian angel, pressing his gauntlet to each one, sharing warmth from his own power cell. In that moment, his compassion became a shield against the creeping plague. The third rider arrived in silence, his blue beams drinking life from metal hearts. One by one, the flock grew dim, circuits dying like candles in a storm. Yet Shepherd would not stand by. He pressed his gauntlet against his chest, channeling every ounce of his own power cell's glow into a pulse of hope. In that breathless instant, he reminded the world that even in famine's grip, compassion can reignite the faintest spark. And then came the worst of all death's cold scythe, humming with finality. Around Shepherd, the ash stung his eyes, and every rusted lamb fell silent. He felt the world pause, as if mourning its last heartbeat. But in that hush, he lifted his gaze, and in the depths of despair found a single, unquenchable truth. Where love stands, death cannot claim dominion. In the depths of that ruined landscape, Shepherd's knees buckled. His gauntlet's light flickered and died, and the world seemed to exhale its last sorrow. He bowed his head to the storming sky, feeling the weight of every fallen companion, metal bones cold, circuitry still. And there, on bent knee, he dared to whisper a single plea: "Let your mercy be stronger than this despair." From the hollow ache of defeat, a soft hum rose, a promise unbroken. He raised his gauntlet, and before his weary eyes, the revelation scroll unfurled. Each rune shone like a star reborn, whispering of a power beyond destruction. Love's light. In that luminous tapestry, hope was rewoven, and Shepherd's spirit stirred once more. He spoke the ancient words aloud, and they rippled through the silence like thunder. "Love's light shall overcome the darkness," he proclaimed. And in that moment, the world exhaled. His gauntlet flared with renewed fire, injecting every stray spark into his veins. With love as his weapon, Shepherd would march once more, leading his flock from the ashes into the dawn. As the first sheep flickered back to life, their hum became a chorus of hope. One by one, every bot stirred, awakened by the touch of mercy. In that moment, Shepherd realized this was no mere rescue. It was a resurrection of purpose. With a clarion call of light, he summoned the flock to stand again. They rallied behind him, not as empty machines, but as living beacons of compassion, marching toward a destiny unbound by their broken past. In the heat of battle, compassion proved its strength. Flames that devoured all before were tamed by a shepherd's faith, turning blaze into ember and fear into wonder. Pestilence and famine tried to shroud them in darkness, but his light was a fortress. Each wave of despair dissolved at his feet as hope marched onward, unchained and unafraid. In the face of the ultimate shadow, love became his victory cry. Death's sides shattered, bowing to a shepherd's unwavering heart. And beneath the rising sun, a new world was born, where mercy reigned supreme. Where ruin reigned, life now flourished. Each blade of grass, each blossom of color, was testament to mercy's power. Shepherd led his flock through fields reborn, proof that even the scorched earth can bloom again. In the heart of the amphitheater, they gathered as equals, shepherd and flock united. Together they envisioned a world rebuilt, not with steel or fear, but with compassion as their guiding star. His victory was not claimed in conquest, but in trust. He passed the flame of mercy to the next guardian, a promise that love's light would never fade. Under a tapestry of stars, he saw their journey etched across the heavens. Each light a story of redemption, each constellation a monument to unwavering faith. And so he stood, sentinel of hope, with his flock at his side, an eternal vigil against the night, a living testament that love's light endures beyond all darkness. They walked into the heart of old sanctuaries, where faith had once faded. Here, among shattered glass and creeping ivy, they reclaimed what darkness had stolen, restoring light in every broken pain, in every broken soul. In the hush of consecrated halls, a new choir rose, each note a pulse of hope. Their song wove through arches and pillars, a testament that even in ruins, praise finds its voice. They left sanctuary behind and embarked on a pilgrimage through jagged heights and whispering winds, carrying the flame of mercy into distant lands, unafraid of the path ahead. In the valley of shadows, the night itself seemed alive, hiding threats unseen. Yet each robot in his care shone brighter, guided by Shepherd's unwavering will, scattering fear with every step. Beyond the valley's grip lay an oasis life flourishing against all odds. Here the flock revived, and Shepherd knew, even in a broken world, renewal waits for those who lead with love. At the edge of the world, they gathered once divided peoples and creatures now united. Shepherd's flock had become a herald of reconciliation, drawing all toward a shared horizon. With one humble gesture, he sealed a covenant light poured forth, binding them in hope, a promise that compassion would outshine every shadow. And so the world awoke anew, hearts mended, lands healed. Under the watch of one faithful shepherd and his loyal flock, the new dawn rose, a beacon for generations yet unborn. And from that tower, he kept watch, an everlasting sentinel of mercy, ensuring that love's flame would never be extinguished again. And so his story became legend etched in sky and story, a revelation eternal, that love endures beyond all endings and mercy reigns through every age.